Welcome to Public Health Matters, the show that addresses public health issues that matter the most to the citizens of Harford County. Real issues, real people, and the information you need to know.
Hello, I'm Rania Nassar, Public Information Officer for the Harford County Health Department, and your host for today's Public Health Matters, the show that takes a closer look at the public health issues that matter the most to the citizens of Harford County. Today's topic for Public Health Matters is healthy habits for young girls. We will be discussing the importance of healthy habits in young girls, as well as resources available in Harford County. Joining us today is Susan Gartner, Executive Director at Girls on the Run, Central Maryland, and Jennifer Hott, Program Manager for Girls on the Run, Central Maryland. Welcome to our show, and thank you so much for both being with us today.
Thank you.
Yeah. So I'd like if you both could take a moment to introduce yourselves and just let us know what is your connection to the topic of healthy habits for young girls. Susan?
Hello, thank you for having us. I am Susan Gartner, the Executive Director for Girls on the Run of Central Maryland. Besides having a 24-year-old girl, I also have two boys, but I've worked with youth for the past 30 years, and for the past 15, I've worked with Girls on the Run of Central Maryland as Director of Operations and now Executive Director, and I also have volunteered coach for Girls on the Run for 28 seasons.
Wow, awesome. Jennifer?
Hi, Jennifer Hott. I am the program manager for Girls Run of Harford and Cecil counties. We serve 4 counties in our council, and I am, blessed to be a part of this organization. I think it came into my life at the right point when I was really striving to do something selfless, and it became the most, fulfilling thing that I had done in a long time. I'm currently raising my family here in Harford County. I have a young daughter. I previously coached 6 seasons, and I have every intention of returning to coaching when she's eligible for our program.
That's awesome. All right, let's get into our topic for today. So what is Girls on the Run, and what are your goals for teaching young girls?
So Girls on the Run is a curriculum-based program. It's an after-school program. It's designed by a PhD, and they're learning social emotional skills. So they're focusing on, topics that make them think about who they are and who they want to become. Then it goes into selecting and maintaining healthy relationships, your right to choose who your friends are, standing up for ourselves and others, and then community. So how do they fit into the world is a bigger piece. All of our teams are giving back to the local community with a service project, and at the end of the season, we're bringing all of our sites together and completing a non-competitive 5K that is open to everyone.
Wow, that's amazing. Sounds like such a great program. What are some of the most important healthy habits that girls should be focusing on while they're young?
First, I would say just kind of recognizing their emotions and trying to identify them. And at Girls on the Run, we teach them that emotions aren't negative, they're just uncomfortable or comfortable. And to identify those and be able to work through them. Also, just to be active in some way. You don't have to be competitive. It's kind of personal improvement rather than comparing yourself to others. And also just build a self of confidence.
Yes, that's really important.
Yes. So, and at Girls on the Run, and also just building new relationships. And whether it be with friends or adults, just have that connection.
Yeah, those are all really good.
I agree, and I think managing stress is a huge thing. Whether you have a support system at home or not, you really need those life skills. And I think what I love is our coaches are coming back to us and they're saying, I thought I was doing this for the girls, but you're never too old to realize that you can be a better version of yourself. So we really are affecting not just the girls in our program, but those that are volunteering their time and delivering the program, as well as young girls that are in high school that come out and support us as junior coaches.
That's great.
And another healthy habit to teach them is just positive self-talk.
Yes.
We talk negatively about ourselves constantly, and I tell the coaches that, at 40, 50 years old, we're still talking negatively about ourselves, and that we want to turn that around and make it positive. So whether it's a sticky note on your mirror saying you're awesome, whatever it is, to turn those thoughts around.
I love that. So you really are, you know, you have a program for young girls, but you're really touching women of all ages, because a lot of these habits are really important for even women our age. You know, I love the self-talk. That is just really important. It's always a good reminder to tell yourself every day, good affirmations.
Yes, because the more
Yeah.
more times you say something negative, you're going to believe it.
Yes.
So turn it around and you'll believe the positive.
Great. Why is it important to have a strong support system, and what are some ways that young girls can expand their support system?
I think they first have to look at who's in their lives, and we talk about 4 different types. The listener, who do you have that's a listener? Who do you have that's problem solver? Who do you have as a companion? And then kind of look at those and see who do you have in your life, because you want one of those. And then kind of also reflect on yourself and who you are as a friend. Are you the listener, the problem solver, the companion? And then if you don't have one of those, who can it might be? And we have to teach them kind of to go out of their comfort zone.
Yes.
And whether it's just saying hi to somebody, whether it's in the hall at school,
Yes.
or somebody in the front office. So.
What are SMART goals, and why are they important?
So SMART goals, first off, we all need goals, right? Something to strive for, something that
Yes.
makes us, have a focus that we can really dial in on. So, the S in SMART is going to be something that's specific. So whether my goal is to increase my physical activity. So my specific goal is I'm going to walk 10,000 steps each day. So that's, the specific goal that I'm aiming for. Measurable, is it measurable? So how are you going to keep track of whether you're meeting your goals? So you can keep a log or, tally marks, whatever you want to do for like keeping track of measuring that.
Is it attainable?
Attainable, right.
Like, can you do the 10,000?
Yes.
Don't make it 20, because that might not be attainable.
Right, for the long haul.
And then is it rewarding? Is that going to, number one, feel good? And then,
And I think stick too. If it's
Right.
rewarding, you're more likely to stick with that goal and to see it through and make it a lifestyle choice.
and then time, when do you want to complete it by, and do you have enough time to obtain it? So at Girls on the Run, it's the 5K. We set that goal in the beginning of the season. We have 10 weeks to do it. So that's
Right.
our
And breaking
goal.
it down into manageable chunks, right? So maybe your goal is to be running a 5K or walking a 5K next year, but this week you're only physically or mentally able to make it to the end of the street and back, and that's okay. You can build on that and change your goals as you make improvements.
I love that. And that's the one thing I really like about SMART goals, especially that like attainable aspect, is goals can always be updated and improved throughout time. So you might have that, yes, maybe you want to work your way up to a specific goal too as well. So maybe starting off with, maybe you're only used to doing 5,000 steps a day. So maybe working it up slowly to doing 6,000, and then keep kind of updating it. And I think that's the beauty about that, and just the reminder of, goals can always change and they can always improve. So that's great. I love that you're teaching about that. So according to the National Survey of Children's Health, only 16% of girls met the guideline of 60 minutes of physical activity a day in 2022 to the 2023 survey. How can young girls incorporate more physical activity into their daily routine?
Well, first of all, I think parents, guardians play a role in this to model the behavior.
Yes.
Whether it's taking a walk with the dogs and inviting your children, taking a walk around a lake, going for hikes, bike riding, and just encouraging that, modeling it. So it doesn't have to be necessarily a specific sport. Some girls don't like to be competitive.
Yes.
So at Girls on the Run, it's about personal improvement and not competitive. So everybody has a place. And I just think modeling is the best way, and just small steps, and set those SMART goals.
And I think making intentional choices, I think if kids come home at the end of the day and they've worked hard and they're drained and they're tired, and it's easy to hop on the couch with a snack and to let go of that. They carry a lot of, weight throughout the day, and that's heavy at times. But if they walk outside and they get some fresh air, I think if you allow them the opportunity to let go of that in a different setting, that they don't want to come inside, they don't want to hop on a tablet, and it's refreshing, if you give them the choice and options to make, choices that are, physically stimulating for them.
Yeah. Now I kind of want to talk a little bit about like healthy habits and eating. So we know that healthy eating is an important part of growing up. So what can parents or guardians do to encourage their kids to eat a balanced diet? And what if they are picky eaters?
So that also comes back to modeling. And I think from the earliest ages, even when your child is in a high chair, to have them be part of the meal prep. They can be watching you, and then as they get older, they can be stirring, and just make them a part of it, and also give them a choice. Maybe as a family create a meal plan for the week, so they pick the options. And if they feel ownership of it, they're going to, number one, want to eat it.
Yes.
And also just a variety from the beginning. And don't put pressure. Like, for those picky eaters, the more you pressure them, the more they're not going to want to try new things. So if you can get them involved from the beginning, it's the best. Like, I had my kids, we would create recipes, and we made a recipe book for the family, and just have them involved, and then they're more open to try new things.
I agree, and I think too there's comfort foods, and then there's stretch foods. There's foods that push us to our moment. I think making them available, right? So if you know that they have a comfort food, you put that there, and you know that they have access to a nutritious meal, and then you put a little bit of a stretch food that kind of pushes their boundaries that they have there, and slowly they'll start to try, and maybe you don't have to eat it all, but you have to try it, or a thank you bite is what I like to do in my home. And talk about texture, right? Change the conversation versus this is a healthy food or an unhealthy food. Is it crunchy? Is it soft? Is it hot? Is it cold? Do you think, eggs? How many ways can you cook an egg? Try on different ways. And, maybe a Sunday morning you get up and you cook eggs 6 different ways. And how do you like it? Do you like it with cheddar cheese? Do you like them hard boiled with pepper? And make it a fun experience. Not necessarily that they have to enjoy it, but that it's more of a life experience for them versus a healthy versus non-healthy choice.
I was a picky eater growing up, and so I understand that conversation, but as I was growing up, I also slowly started to stay with my parents in the kitchen when they were cooking, and to be with my mom and to kind of see what she was doing was really helpful for me, and it kind of really helped me explore my palate, but also as I got older made me enjoy kind of cooking more and cooking healthier foods, because I understand what the difference, and I love the texture conversation about it. So I think that's great that we're talking about it. So I did recently see data from our Youth Risk Behavior Survey, also known as our YRBS survey, and it shows that only 30% of 8th graders in Harford County, and that's 8th grade girls, were getting 8 hours or more of sleep on an average night. So that's only 30%. How can lack of sleep affect young girls in their everyday life?
Well, both physically and emotionally. It can cause more stress. They can be more distracted. Overall, it's just not beneficial for, they need that sleep. So setting some type of routine or putting down those devices.
I think brain development too. I think at rest, your brain is able to recharge and to allow kids to, grow and be able to get up in the morning and really absorb what they're learning at school. I think that, along with behavioral issues, I think kids that are absent from school, I think that plays into it. There are kids across, our nation that are not showing up for school, and I think that there's a reason why. So I think we need to look at the bigger picture. You know, are they not getting sleep? Therefore, it's becoming, you know, based off of sleep cycles and things like that. But yeah, I think there's a lot of components that really lead into that.
And I know it's hard too, because as adults, we're also seeing kind of statistics very similar to this.
Right.
We're struggling to get that 8 hours or so, or how much ever that is required for our age range. And I love the importance of, you know, even that wind down of how can we slowly get ourselves ready, because we're spending so much time throughout the day running around, doing certain things. We're working, we're on our phones, we're worried about what we have to do over the weekend, and we have to worry about what we have to get ready for the next day. And so it kind of plays into that struggle of getting that, you know, required amount of sleep that we have. So I think, you know, starting them at that young age and talking about that importance is really important kind of moving forward.
And setting up that type of routine.
Yes. Yeah.
Whether it's reading, bath, you know, setting that up. But even as they get older, they can still do similar things, whether it's shower the night before, then read a book, but winding down and getting to bed at a certain time. So.
So I also saw another statistic that it was on a survey that was done by the CDC that 53% of United States teen girls felt persistently sad or hopeless in 2023. That's nearly double the boys in that survey. Why do you think that is, and how can we work on improving young girls' mental health?
Yeah, I think the CDC has done a great job over the last 3 decades gathering this data, and I think it's really a call to action, not just for parents, but our entire community. Kids are being exposed to violence and trauma at an alarming rate, and we need to do something. It's not okay.
Yeah, and social media,
Yeah,
obviously,
they're
the influx of the social media. Girls starting at 8 want to fit into a box.
Yes.
They want to become somebody that that's not who they are.
Yeah.
And social media has just kind of, you know, enhanced that, you know, tenfold. And they just see the images of people online and what they should be looking like or acting like if they're not getting those likes when they post something. So that all plays into that, you know, depression and those statistics, unfortunately. So programs like Girls on the Run, where we talk about self first and just having that self-worth and building them up with the confidence. And they feel empowered that they are okay to be who they are. So I think that's a first step. Also at home, reminding that positive self-talk, and that yes, you might not be able to stop them completely from using social media, but limit possibly some of the time, and to kind of reiterate that that's not who you were supposed to be, you know.
And support systems, you know, growing their support system, whether you're getting them involved in school activities or extracurricular activities. I think there's a benefit of getting them out in the community. There's so many resources available to, you know, not only girls but boys here. You know, our youth is really searching for a support system, and there are great things out there that families don't even know that they have access to.
Yeah, and that just with a sense of belonging. If they belong to something, you know, some kind of group, they feel connected.
And, you know, 1 in 3 kids are saying that they're being bullied, and that, you know, that's really, it's really hard to hear it, you know, and that's the majority of kids are being exposed to that, whether they're witnessing it or they're a part of it. You know, it's an everyday occurrence that they're seeing, and we really need to support them better as a community.
And like social media, we've talked about like the good and the bad of social media. I think an important thing is to kind of talk about even like media literacy to make them understand that yes, what you're seeing is actually not real. Like people can enhance, they can change, they can Photoshop, they can do so many things. And so kind of teaching young girls just the importance of media literacy and understanding what they're seeing is not real also helps, because like we said, we don't want them to think that they need to fit into a certain box, which is that perfect image that they might see online. So I think that, you know, supporting them in those aspects is it's really crucial.
And also with that, you know, also it might not be real, and also people are not going to show the negative aspects of their life. They're only showing the positive.
Yes.
So they might be looking at that, oh, that person has a perfect life. They're going here and there and there. No, they're just like you. They're home and maybe not as happy, and you know, they might be struggling too. They're just not going to show that.
Yeah. So kind of going into that support system conversation, what advice would you give to parents or guardians who want to engage their kids at home more?
Yeah, I think, you know, Susan says this best, you know, just model it, you know, being available, having those little conversations. And I think, you know, a lot of times we come home as parents and we haven't seen them all day and we bombard them. And I think it's giving them the room to relax and unwind and want to open up.
Yeah.
You know, I think, you know, making time and giving them the room to relax and to let their guard down and to be a safe place. I know that when I'm comfortable, it's a different version of myself. And in, you know, having a safe place, whether it be, you know, at home or in your school or in your group that you participate with, that's, you know, really important for girls and all youth.
Yeah. And just asking questions besides just how was your day?
Yes.
Ask, you know, detailed questions, get to know their teachers' names, ask, you know, friends' names, ask them about them, and also make that part of, like we talked about the physical activity, go for a walk, and that's usually either going to a sport in the car or on a walk. Your children will open up more.
Yes.
Because they are not, studies have been done, if you're not face to face, we're not eye to eye. When we're walking, we're straight ahead, so our eyes are not contact. So they will open up more because they're not looking directly at you. So I know personal experience with my children. I got everything out about them on taking them to soccer and hockey practice and stuff like that.
What resources are available in Harford County to help support healthy habits in young girls?
So I think Harford County does a great job. There's a Harford County resource guide. And I think if you hop on there, there's tons of organizations that are listed. It's a great starting place. But I think if you don't find what you're looking for there, I think it's the conversations that are authentically happening in the grocery store when you walk into Target and you start chatting with someone and you notice that the kid has on a jersey or something like that. And
Girls on the Run shirt.
Yeah, it is. It's, you know, the willingness to connect, right? We have an amazing community here in Harford County. There's great people doing great things, and I think that if you just ask, you're really going to find that there's great support systems out there for your kids.
So we talked a little bit, you both are from Girls on the Run, and I want to help the audience kind of understand the eligibility guidelines for the Girls on the Run program.
So we have two different programs, 3rd through 5th, and then our middle school program, which is called Heart and Soul, for 6th through 8th.
Okay.
There is a program fee, but we offer scholarships. We never turn a girl away due to financial, you know, difficulties. We give over $60,000 a year in financial aid. So, and I think that those are the eligibilities. And I mean, each school has to have 2 coaches, and it's a max of 20 girls per team. So
that's great. What are some evidence-based programs that are used for Girls on the Run?
Yeah, so our curriculum, they are designed by a PhD. We have a lot of case studies that are done on them. Dr. Maureen Weiss has done some great studies that come back. And what we're finding is the kids that are least active when they start the program are actually making the greatest gains, or, you know, increasing their physical activity by about 40%. So there's a lot of sets that are coming back that are really proving that, you know, 96% of schools saying that they, you know, they'll host the program again because they are seeing a difference in the population there. Not just the kids that are in the program, but these kids are influencing also their peers.
Yeah, so it is curriculum based. There's 20 lessons for both Girls on the Run and Heart and Soul. And then we have 2 versions for Heart and Soul and 3 for Girls on the Run. Girls on the Run, it's a national program, so Girls on the Run International just came out with 3 new curriculum. The main focus is confidence, and that's when they did studies, that's the highest thing that parents wanted to see in their children. So, and then each curriculum is kind of, Jennifer spoke on it, but it starts with self, and then team building. So we talk about gossiping, the right to choose your own friends, and then community.
That's great. Do you ladies have anything else you'd like to add before we end our show today?
I think that, again, thank you for having us, but I think that, there's healthy habits, right? And we can choose to make them. And when you slip up and you fall, off that path, it's never too late to change your course, right? And if you don't like where you are as a child, as, a young teenager or an adult, you can make choices and change the direction that your life is going. And I think that we have an amazing community that will support you every step of the way.
That's great. So that's all the time we have for today. I would like to thank my guests on today's show, Susan and Jennifer. And if you would like more information on healthy habits for young girls, please refer to the resources page after the show. And join us next time for another important health issue that matter the most to the citizens of Harford County. Thank you so much for watching.
You've been watching Public Health Matters, brought to you by HarfordTV. Watch what matters.